All right. Hello. We are here to give our movie review on My Sister's Keeper. I'm here with Daisha, Joe, Simone, Haliana, and Kelly, and one more person, and that is Joanna. Today, what we want to do first is introduce everybody. So, everybody, please go in order and introduce yourself, starting with Joanna.
Hey ladies, I'm Joanna. Nice to meet you.
Can y'all hear me?
Hello, my name is Daisha.
Hello, my name is Joe.
Hello, my name is Simone.
Hi, my name is Haliana.
Okay, what we want to do first is start by giving the main characters of the movie, and who's going to give us the main characters of the movie and more information about what their role was in the movie is going to be Joanne.
There we go. Some of the main characters that we were able to come up about with My Sister's Keeper has been Anna. Anna is a 13-year-old girl who was genetically engineered. She was born with one specific purpose, and that was to save her sister Kate. She has leukemia. Anna has had a very rough young life. She has been set through different procedures in order for her to save the life of her sister. We then see Kate. Kate is Anna's sister who has leukemia. She has endured much of her life and struggled constantly receiving treatments. In the movie, we can see that she has come to terms about potentially passing away. We see the phases she kind of goes throughout the movie and the different ups and downs that she's been going through. Sarah is the mother in the movie. She is a lawyer but dropped everything for Kate. Sarah's main goal through the movie is to keep Kate alive no matter what. And if that means sacrificing her other children, she does it. She turns to her husband when Anna sues her in wanting to make her own decisions and live just a 13-year-old life. Her family is completely consumed by Kate's illness. She kind of sets everybody to the side and just wants to focus directly onto her. Then we see, through some time, we see the lawyer, who is Campbell. Campbell is a lawyer that Anna decides to hire and sue her parents to receive the medical emancipation. At first, the character seems very questionable Anna's request, but is later determined to grant her wish. He relates to Anna in the sense of him not being able to control his illness either, which is epilepsy, and it's something that he doesn't have control over. Brian is the father of Anna and Kate, and he's a firefighter. His storyline basically involves understanding the children and always being supportive of the girls. He admits he has shifted his path and focuses only on Kate when he should have been supportive of everyone. He makes a plan to make Kate's wish in taking her to the beach. We then see Kate's boyfriend. Kate meets this wonderful gentleman who she connects instantly. Like her, he has cancer. Through the movie, this character allowed Kate to live some of the best moments from her first time getting ready to her first prom. He was there every step of the way until his last day. Throughout this whole procedure where Anna sues her mother, we come to terms and see a judge. The judge happens to know both parties of the story. She sadly has an inner connection of losing her daughter. She was a very important character because she's ultimately who emancipates Anna from donating to her sister after she hears all the stuff she has endured. We see a brother throughout this whole storyline, a brother to Anna and Kate. The brother feels very guilty in seeing his sisters die day by day and not have a solution. Through the whole movie, you see him alone, one place to another, never really asking for much. But later, we find out who seeks his attention. Just like Anna, he feels invisible. He starts doing wrong, but finally gets it right. Throughout this process, we could see that Sarah has a sister who associates with her and tries to help her out as much as she can. She is there whenever she's asked on. Basically, she encourages and helps much during the home. She calls Sarah out for what it is and how she's not respecting Kate's wishes and ignoring the rest of the family.
Okay, thank you so much, Joanna, for the introduction of the main characters and their role. That was very insightful, and I even like how you put about the attorney and that how he related because he had epilepsy. very good synopsis. So second, we're going to hand it over to Daisha, and Daisha is going to give us a brief narrative of the storyline. So Daisha, go ahead.
Right, so basically, Joanna did a pretty good job explaining all the characters, so you kind of got an insight of how the movie went. So Sarah and Brian, they find out that their only daughter, Kate, has leukemia. So neither of them or their son was genetically compatible with like helping her out, blood draws and bone marrow transplants and all of that. So the doctor was like, hey, this is an off-the-wall idea, but maybe you can genetically engineer another child that will be able to help your current child with all of her medical procedures. Yeah. So they end up doing that. So they essentially have another child just for her body parts. And then as the movie progresses, she starts getting older. And it's seeming like she doesn't want to do it anymore. She's trying to get her independence. She's tired of being poked and prodded and going through all these procedures. So she hires a lawyer to help her get medical emancipation from her parents. And so she's suing her parents for the rights to her own body. They're going through this whole court trial. It's just all over the place. The mom is like not believing her that she really wants to be medically emancipated. And so it comes to this climax where they're all in the courtroom, and then they realize, or the truth comes out that it's not really her that's wanting to sue the parents. It's the daughter who has cancer because she doesn't want to live anymore. She feels like she's not going to be able to make it through, I believe it was a kidney transplant. So she's just wanting to stop, and she knows that her mom wouldn't allow the other sister to just not do it. Then there's actually two different endings. There's one ending where the mom is with the daughter, Kate, in the hospital, and she kind of like dies in her sleep. And then there's another one where on the way back from the court case, they get into a car accident, and Anna, the child that's well, she dies. And so the lawyer who has power of attorney over her makes an order that, yeah, she can go ahead and give the other daughter, Kate, who has, I'm trying to keep up with all the names, but the other daughter who has cancer. So there's two different endings, but that's pretty much how the movie went. So.
Hey.
I even like how you gave us very specifics that Anna was actually basically born just so she could help Kate live. So thank you for including that in the movie review, because that's important information, because otherwise she wouldn't have been here. So next up we have number 3, identity theory and parenting models within the movie and what seems so complex. And I am the lucky one to do the review for that one. And so for the identity theory and parenting models in the movie, I went with was interdependence. And that is because it related to the principle of wholeness within the movie, which affects a greater or to a lesser degree within a family. What affected Kate definitely affected the whole family. For example, Jesse, her brother who had dyslexia, was sent off to camp for a whole year, if I remember correctly. Instead of using something more useful resources within the community, he probably could have went to tutoring or anything else. Kate kind of came first, so whatever she was going through kind of spills off into the whole family. So I definitely identified that. Another thing that came out to me was that Kate and her illness also gave, I'm sorry. Okay, Kate, let's see. Since they had to be so hands-on with Kate, and as you stated before, Daisha, that her younger sister was born because of her illness, and that affected Kate, or that affected Anna is a huge understatement to the extent that Anna sought out representation from a local attorney so that her parents can no longer have say over her body or blood cells or have to donate her kidney or make any medical decisions regarding her body in order to save her sister. That interdependence is something that Anna had to do in order to keep Kate alive. It's kind of unfair to Anna and to her future desires, and just to her unknown, future period. It was unfair to her. So it was like a definite interdependence. That's what I identified that as. Anna was a designer baby. She purposely birthed, as you said, to bring a homeostasis back into the Fitzgerald family from birth by using her umbilical cord, among other things, for her older sister's survival. This family was a very close-knit family, and the majority of the time, we saw the mother, the father, the aunt, the son, and both daughters interact with each other. According to the ecological system theory, and parenting is known as a microsystem, according to our book. And the nurses and even Kate's boyfriend, Taylor, along with her distant aunts and uncles, will be considered part of her mesosystem. Finding a parent model designed after what I view in this movie was not coming to me in neon lights. One, because this movie was more about how a family unit acts when someone is sick. And it's not something that you see every day when you see people or when you hear people that are sick. This movie gave you an opportunity to actually show you in depth of how that can affect people within the ecological systems and even outside. It's a trickle down effect. So that was my synopsis on the identity theory and the models in the movie, and those are some of the things that stood out to me. So to keep it going for number 4, we have, explanation of developmental periods of the children. And for number 4, we are going to have Simone explain her thoughts on that. Simone?
Okay, now, although Anna was an infant, Kate was a toddler, and Jesse was a preschooler when the crisis began, because Anna was birthed to be a donor. But when the crisis began, that is when the adolescents, they were going into adolescence, and adolescence is the stage between childhood and adulthood. They were actually in the middle adolescence, and this is the stage where the physical development changes, and specifically for them with adolescence, as Kelly stated, they were in the interdependence stage of adolescence, where autonomy begins to develop, because this is where Anna exerted her own will to say, hey, this is my body. I'm able to make choices. And also where Jesse, he was going through the adolescent stage of rebellion. He felt lost. And because of his disabilities that no one had a chance to really look into, because everyone was focused on Kate and Anna, they were both focused mainly on Kate, but also Anna. So during the adolescent stage, and specifically the interdependence on where they can say, hey, as Kate did say, this is my body, where Anna said, this is my body, where Kate said in a secret type of way of letting her siblings know, hey, I really don't want to do this. So this is where she exerted her autonomy and interdependence amongst her own siblings and leaving out the adults. So also this period includes parenting, adolescence, and demands that the adults examine the issue of parental authority and how this is to be played out. So this stage of adolescence really showed where at a certain stage, when you want to become autonomous, when you're able to have the ability to think on your own, although you're not able to make clear decisions, you're able to at least have a train of thought of what can be done to an adolescent stage to have a say. So basically, it's something that's very, very clear that it states in our book. That says the issues of this stage for parents and adolescents is to adjust and describe their relationship as it is evolving. So Anna was evolving as a donor baby, but one who was beginning to have her own mindset. Kate was evolving into one also having a mindset saying, hey, I'm accepting this sickness. Jesse was evolving into saying, hey, okay, this rebellious stage is not working for me. It's not helping the family. So and to permit, this is where parents have to permit compromise and dialogue along with the rules and appropriate behavior. And that's where everything comes in, where Anna, being the adolescence, can make a decision, hey, I want to be medically emancipated. So this is the adolescence is the age where the three children were in during the crisis.
Well, thank you so much. I know I could not have said it better myself, Simone. It is almost like when people are playing the little game with the cups and they go back and forth the way you described the adolescence. They set her up to be a donor, as you said, but when adolescence came along, she had her own mind, and the person that they set her up to be a donor for, as you said, she was through fighting. So, and then even the son being rebellious, he finally got himself together. So that was perfectly said. So to keep it going, we are now on number 5, and to give a description of the conflict. Oh boy. So Joe, go ahead and give us the description of all the conflict going on in this movie.
The conflict that I saw in the movie, and then maybe you can join in, you ladies can join in, when I finish, and maybe you have saw more than I did. But when I first reviewed the movie, I saw the conflict started when the mother, Sarah, and the father, Brian, decided to, I don't know whether it was a moral decision or immoral decision, to have the doctor, engineer, he was a scientific doctor, engineer, their daughter Anna, to save the birth of their daughter, Anna, to save their daughter Kate's life, who was diagnosed with leukemia. And then the conflict continued when Anna continued over the years, like when Anna had to endure so many medical painstaking procedures and that she went through to keep Kate alive. And the most heartbreaking conflict that I think in the movie is when Anna, when she got older and the doctor told the family that Kate would have to have a kidney transplant because, her kidneys was failing, and the kidney, and Anna was the only donor for Kate. And this was really heartbreaking because Anna couldn't, for the rest of her life, she would have to be careful, She couldn't play sports. She couldn't be a cheerleader. She would have to be really, really careful with her life. And then, she really didn't want to be careful in her life. And that was a conflict also because she just really didn't want to live her life like that. And though, Kate knew that Kate was dying, and she had asked her mother over and over, that let her go. But her mother just ignored her wishes, and that was the conflict, she just ignored. She didn't want to hear it because she loved her so much. It's nothing like, your child, you don't want to let your child go. You know what I'm saying? That's your child, that's your baby, that's the one that you birthed, and to see her to leave you, in death, that's heartbreaking. And so, no matter what, Kate decided that, she knew that Kate knew that Anna would never stop doing all what she did for her, because she loved her. And she knew that, no matter what, if all the challenges she was going through and all the challenges that she would have in the future, she knew that her sister Anna would never stop doing it. So she decided to coach her and let her know that it's okay. It's okay to feel the way you feel. So she decided to coach her into showing her how to break free from her mother and father, how to attain a attorney to get her medical emancipation, and then for some people that, some people might not know what a medical emancipation is. And I think, Simone, you touched on that a few minutes ago about, medical emancipation, for adolescents. It could be for other reasons, but Anna, she chose it for her medical reasons. And she wanted to be free to make her own decisions. And then that's when the conflict escalated. It just escalated because her mother was so upset. Her mother, Sarah, was so upset when she found this out. She resented the decision that Anna made, and that she made to go to court with this process of medical emancipation. So, what do you think? Any ladies, do y'all think it was some more conflict?
I think there was even conflict between the parents, Sarah and Brian.
Oh, yes.
Like at the beginning, they're both on board. Like, okay, kind of let's have this baby. I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like the mom kind of just took it way too far, and the dad, it was too far to where he felt like he could control it, so he kind of just sat back. But towards the end, that's when he was like, okay, this is enough. Like, I'm going to finally speak up and say something. Or we're getting a divorce. It just quickly. So they definitely had conflict throughout, pretty underlying conflict throughout the whole movie, but it really just kind of escalated towards the end.
Thank you for your input, Deja. I appreciate that. So.
All right, ladies. Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Deja, for your input. Joe, like you said, I think pretty much a lot of the conflict was around the mother, and to sum it all up, who wants to let their baby go? But she definitely was in the middle of a lot of the conflict, and understandably so.
Exactly.
So moving along to the resolution of conflicts, and we have coming up for that will be Hollyana. So how do you think the conflicts were resolved, and give us your thoughts on that?
Okay. I think it was resolved very sadly because, as you know, I saw a different ending. But it really happened at the end of the movie, and it shows that the reason why Anna initiated the lawsuit was because her sister Kate did not want her to donate the kidney. She didn't want her to keep going through that. Like Kate explained that she no longer wanted to suffer or be in a hospital. She was just ready to die. After the trial was over, Anna was granted medical emancipation, and she was happy about that. And like once they were leaving the courthouse, Anna and Campbell were involved in a car accident, which led to Anna being brain dead, but Campbell ended up surviving. And Campbell, after she talked to her parents about, she talked to Anna and Kate's parents about the death, she decided to donate Anna's kidney, which was a relief for the mom, but although she was still upset about Anna's death, and she started feeling very bad about it because she don't want to. Realistically, she didn't want to see neither one of her daughters go. And she talked about how Kate talked about how she had a lot of grief about Anna's death, and her mother Sarah kept looking for signs for Anna to come back, even though she wasn't. Like she was just in denial about the whole thing. She also talked about how Kimber did not return after she received the kidney, which was another relief for Kate, although they were still upset about Anna dying. And then it reminds us that she would never forget about her sister. She even showed the scar from the kidney transplant, which showed that although she died for her, she still won't ever forget about her. So that was the whole resolution that I saw. Did y'all see anything else?
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and then I think there, like we said, there's two different endings where after the one where Anna lives and the lawyer brings the letters to the house saying, oh, you won.
Mm-hmm.
And the resolution was, okay, it was seen as though Anna won, but she lost because, yes, she lost her sister. Her sister wanted to leave. So the resolution, it just seems so, it could be clear cut, and then it could be like kind of in the air, because what really was the satisfaction?
Mm-hmm.
And
Exactly.
yeah, since Kate did want to leave, she was at peace, and then still Anna got what she wanted. She was medically, what is it, emancipated.
Yes.
So it's just ambivalent, the resolution.
Right.
And to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way it was sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's safe to say that the resolution was ironically resolved, but it was not a happy ending on either side.
Exactly.
Since it ended in two ways, either Anna died and Kate got her organs, but she died. And when Kate died and Anna was emancipated, it's not a win-win situation.
Right.
So I don't even know if you could call that a resolution, but that's
Yeah.
That's
a difficult one.
Yes.
Yeah. So on to number 7, and this is going to be the group critique of the movie and the connection to this course, research, readings, discussion board, theory, and assignments. Dr. Washington has asked that the students provide her with the following when we're submitting. The YouTube movie review, which is what we're doing now, and the list of responsibilities of each member, the dates and the times we met, and so forth. I believe we've provided all of that information. We can go in order as we have been throughout this video. We can start with Joanna. If you want to go ahead and give your movie critique and the connection to the course.
Yes, ma'am. Well, first and foremost, this was by far one of the best movies that I've been able to see. Very emotional, if I must say, and very related topic in general. Just Kate and Anna opening up, just like Simone stated, in their adolescence and trying to make their own options and give out their own opinions is a very crucial part. This just set up, I felt, it set up the whole course for us because it allows us to analyze and actually find out what the adolescents, kind of process and how they function. I found it's by far undescribable. The plot of the story is very sad, to say the least. And I'm out for words, if I could even say that. I just love the fact that they were able to initiate and inform us and allow us to see them as young as they were able to dictate and, kind of tell their mom, this is what's going on and we need a change. We need to create that change. And they were able to finally come along with some struggles, but create that change. Not so very happily because, like we stated, the ending wasn't so great either. So I'm not sure if you all could follow from that or what insight do y'all have.
Yes.
Yeah, my personal review of the movie, I enjoyed it because it highlighted like such a difficult situation and subject that is kind of like a niche subject. It doesn't happen to all parents, but it is something that's necessary for them to be able to see. I think when people have children, they don't plan for the children to be sick or for them to not outlive them. And so it really puts a strain on how to parent how do you parent a sick child? How do you discipline them? Do you kind of give them everything that they want because they're not going to be around a long time, or do you really discipline them? And so I pulled from, I know we were talking about a couple weeks back about children going into adolescence, and many of you have mentioned this as well, them trying to gain their independence. And so ironically, it was Kate who was trying to gain her independence, but like in such a severe way, like she wanted to die, like she just didn't want to be here. And so how do you as a parent, you know, navigate through giving your child more independence, but like not wanting them to die at the same time? Like that's just a really difficult type of thing to go through. I also wanted to touch on the parental conflict between Brian and Sarah. In the text, they were saying that research consistently shows that parent and adolescent relations are best when the decisions are perceived by both parties as being consistent, fair, and collaborative, and all the needs of all family members are respected. So I feel like definitely in the movie, it was not collaborative. All the needs of everyone were not respected. And so that just caused a whole bunch of conflict between everyone. The parents couldn't agree on stuff. Kids were getting left out. Other kids were getting abused, for lack of a better word. So the movie had a lot of different layers, and I think it addressed very specific problems for some families. And it was also very emotional. So I think that it was a good movie overall.
Thank you, Deja. I heard that it was 5 out of 5 stars for me. It was very emotional, cried like a baby, but what it did do was make me think about people who actually go through this. You know, I wake up every day, I go to work, and I come home, I go to the grocery store. That's my life. That's what I deal with. But seeing this movie made me realize, oh my gosh, there's some people who actually go through this. This was the first time that I ever thought of, there are actually some siblings who have siblings with cancer. I've never thought about people being born to kind of, you know, like how Anna was born to take care of somebody, and use some of her blood cells and, you know, body part, organs, all that good stuff, and biblical course. I never thought of that, and it does make me want to go research, you know. I'm guessing this is true, but it sounds so far-fetched that I had never heard of it. So I like that they put it out there, that it was something that it's not, you know, an everyday walk in the park movie, that it wasn't a cookie cutter movie. One thing that stood out the most to me, or a couple, maybe 2 things that stood out. We just had a discussion board about grandparents and relationship with grandparents. They didn't really talk about grandparents in this movie, but they did point out and make sure to say how they weren't very close with their aunt and uncle, and how they would come around only for certain things. And when they say certain stuff like that in the movie, it kind of, I don't know, it's like, why did they even say that? So when we just got finished talking about grandparents, it made me think that, I don't know, maybe if people who have a niece or a nephew who's going through cancer, if they was to see this movie, would it make them change their mind? Same way that we talked about grandparents, because after we talked about grandparents on discussion boards, I said, I'm going to start having my kids call my parents, because it makes you think. That's what this movie actually made you do, is it made you think. And another thing that I read in our book was the goal is for the parent to enter the child's world to gain an understanding of a child's feelings and motivations. The parent can be attentive to a child's verbal and nonverbal communications and reflect the feelings. And that is exactly what I felt when Kay was in the bed they said for 2 weeks. I'm sure I'm sure they were exaggerating, but I don't know. I'm aware now from taking this course, there's a lot of things that I have been exaggerating. But when she said, no, we're not going to do this, and I'm going to shave my hair, she took her nonverbal communication, her getting up, doing her daily routine, and she internalized that in her motherly instincts as, you know, something must really be bad going on. You're not going to keep this going. I'm going to do something about it. And so that just made me think about how she took and she understood her child's feelings. So I love this movie, and the thing that I took from it is that I am really going to start trying to think about what other people are going through more than I ever had before, because you never know.
Right.
Right. That's, yeah, it made me think too, because, well, after I watched it and I was able to settle down, as you go through the day after you look at something and different thoughts come to your mind. And then